Witam wszystkich Państwa.
Welcome everyone.
Że mnie słychać.
I hope you can hear me all right.
Swoje wystąpienie chciałbym
In the beginning of my speech, I would like to recall a story from a few years ago when I worked in the Chancellor of the Prime Minister of Poland, when I was asked to reform the Institute of Central and Eastern Europe, to change the name to Central European Institute. And going through all the parliamentary process, we started about the geopolitical definition. What is the Central Europe? Sometimes associated with the Intermarium region. We can see today that Central Europe and Intermarium are above all else 11 countries of the European Union, starting from Poland down to Croatia. But also we can see we have this conscience that we would like to include in this group the countries which do not yet belong to the European Union, but in a great extent form part of our community in terms of culture and economy. Historically speaking, we have seen two great intents to integrate the nations and states of this region. The first one was the Commonwealth of Two Nations, which was a hugely courageous and visionary project of its times. Unfortunately, there was not enough determination to expand this project and to advance it in a few ways. And another one, probably well known and most declared in the world, was the Habsburg Empire, and then Austro-Hungarian Empire, the country which Winston Churchill said, if it didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. From the British perspective, or the Austrians themselves, it can be easily seen as a totally positive. The Poles and then many other Slavic countries consider it a prison of nations. We often say it about Russia, but the Habsburg Empire also performed this role to a certain extent. Today, seeing how some conservatives perceive that part of our history, not only in Poland, but in this area, very often seeing the portraits of Franz Josef, and that model of economic development was very destructive for the provinces. For example, the Lesser Poland, which for centuries had been one of the richest parts of Poland, of the Republic of Poland, but became one of the poorest under the Habsburgs. The Krakow elites, looking at Vienna, created the city as one of the best cities, best developed cities, but all the other parts of the region became extremely poor. And similar stories could be said of other provinces. Speaking about the integration between the Intermarium region countries, we should never follow the Habsburg way, never compare, never try to re-establish, reenact the same model the Habsburgs proposed. Because it was the system in which the center became rich at the cost of the provinces. If we want to compare ourselves to the Western countries, we have to make sure that the center of this Central Europe didn't follow the way of Vienna in the 19th century. This is the key point. Today, speaking of sovereignty, we do not speak of any kind of a federation of very strong relations of power, but rather of a strong collaboration between sovereign independent countries, which collaborate closely in the most important areas. Today's sovereignty, I think we should be grateful today's sovereignty depends mostly on the economy, not by the military, and I think we should be happy because of that. And I believe that for many countries of the Central Europe, the last years have been a symbol of a great economic success, and also catching up slowly but steadily with the Western Europe. We call it the process of convergence. The process of before the same name was used to to compare the development of the Soviet Union regarding the United States, but of course we need something. We mean it in different terms. We want to strengthen the collaboration between the countries of the region. Everywhere where we can find an agreement where we can strengthen our shared interests. So just to mention a few economic data that show the growing sovereignty of the countries of a region, it's good to show that between 2004 and 2020, the share of these countries, these 11 countries in the EU, in the total GDP has grown by 6.6, from 6.6 to 9.9%. So we can see how much we have to keep up with. The GDP growth in most of these countries has been more than 100%. GDP per capita in 2012, it was 50.6% of the EU. In 2019, it was already 70%. The GDP accumulation by the countries of the region in these years was much higher than the EU average. The average salary per hour in the countries of the region grew much stronger than the average of the EU. The average salary in this region was 4.6 per hour, and in 2019 it was already 11.1 euro. So the economic data in this area, there could be much more of it. That's why I think it's necessary to show a few more areas where this collaboration is based on the best conditions. The first of these is the economic collaboration, integration of our energetic systems. How important it is what happened in Poland last Monday, where because of the problem in the Bełchatów power plant, we could import energy from other countries. But there have been cases where some cases could not import energy, so that's why we need it. Poland is no exception. That's why this kind of collaboration makes us independent, both from the West as from the East, but I think we're both more concerned with the East. One more system is the diversification of the raw materials like gas and petrol. Our disagreement with Nord Stream 2, though Poland or Ukraine, this opinion is cream. Nord Stream 2 is against the idea of diversification. So we absolutely agree with Ukraine, all the countries that would like to achieve full independence from Russia and create their own energy market according to themselves. Another area is infrastructure. For example, the Via Carpathia motorway from Saloniki to Klaipėda through the numerous countries of the region, but also some other railway projects, river projects. These are all the projects that we want to develop. And the last topic that I think we should mention is our shared voice in the EU. As we can see in numerous initiatives that we take up, and very positive approach to the European Commission as many countries in this area are the gross payers in the European Commission. We still receive more money than we pay in, although we open our markets to the Western countries. But very often we're still earning thanks to it. It's worth to pay attention to it. It's worth realizing that the Intermarium initiative is an initiative of equal independent countries that do not work for any central part, be it Warsaw or any other, but it can help grow all of us. Thank you.